What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we have episode 8 of My Driver career mode. At Haas, of course, we've got the Austrian Grand Prix, sprint race included. Of course, at Austria, we've got over 1,500 resource points. We're gonna see if we can get anything. Today we've got one upgrade. I think we got one major weight redistribution, I think, or reduction, either one, coming in for today's race. There you go, it's reduction. So a weight reduction upgrade coming in major. So then we got a major drag reduction for, I think it might be next race, or if not, the one after. So yeah, seeing what we can get. We got engine power, which we aren't going to do. We're just going to see what else we can get before actually saying that we're going to get it. And we actually do get it, and that will be on for next episode then. So that's good. So for France, of course, the massive straight. And then that was literally 100 resource points, so I just got it just because I could. I mean, I could have waited for it to be free, but you know. So those are two minor upgrades. Both will be on, I think, for France. So one matters, one doesn't, because it's, yeah. And that's good. The major upgrade, weight reduction, is on. So that is very good. Our engine components are very worn, so we're going to have to change some of those out. We're going to change most of them, actually. Of course, gearbox, it's on over 60, I think. And we're just going to change quite a lot of things onto, I think it's the third or second column for most things. So yeah, let's go straight into qualifying, because it's on Friday, but we got rain in the race and qualifying. So let's go to possibly a very fun qualifying session on the Friday. Here we are then, here in Austria for Q1. Well, Q1, which is getting out now. Of course, we've upgraded our car quite a lot. And here's our first lap then in Q1, DRS open. Braking uphill, of course, for Austria. Taking a lot of curb on entrance and exit. And maybe trying to hopefully trying to get the slipstream off the car ahead. Who's just come out of the pit lane then. But this lap doesn't really matter, really. It's only Q1. Actually, every qualifying that matters. George Russell said it's the first lap of the session. I think it's the first one. Yeah, we do get the slipstream in the end off Albon, so that's nice. Hitting the braking late, but then into the final sector now. Carrying as much speed as possible into the last two corners, and then getting on the power as early as possible. Something you'll be able to do on F123, of course. And that puts us P2, ahead of Verstappen. So Verstappen's either had a terrible lap, or we've had an absolutely amazing lap. So yeah, that's very good. And after everyone set their lap, that is P7. Verstappen's still behind us, though. So Verstappen must have had a terrible lap. Actually, he's had purple middle sector, so maybe not. What actually happened to him? I think he's got a really slow third sector, but he didn't go back out, and he's finished 13th. We're through to Q2 on 10th, and Kevin Magnussen, our teammate, through as well in 14th place. Charles Leclerc tops it from Lando Norris in P2. We've seen quite a lot of the McLarens doing well in Q1 and then falling off this season. So yeah, that doesn't really mean much. Here we are in Q2 then. It is raining.
Okay, when you're ready,
we have the intermediates on. There you go, we're shaking our head. No practice in the rain, so we've fueled up for quite a few laps. Here we are on our first lap, our out lap. It's very sketchy conditions. Of course, I just said I haven't done any practice laps in the rain, because I just kind of went on with it. And so yeah, we've got 5 laps of fuel in. We're gonna go for a few laps, see what happens, and I'll show you the best result basically of my qualifying in Q2. Because, well, this could literally take anyone out if it becomes dry at the end, which I said it might be, or it might be raining the whole way through. But so yeah, we're gonna have to find out if it's gonna be dry at the end or not. So right now we're just gonna go for many laps on these intermediates as long as possible. So here we are starting first lap. checking the apex, not using much exit curves, maybe going a bit too slow into turn 1. Not maximising all the curves that we could have taken, but now here we are, lap 3 then. And we're still the slowest car, but that's because getting used to conditions hasn't been very well done. So we're just getting used to conditions still, driving around. Lap 4 now, we're up 3/10, still 15th. Leclerc and P11 though, so I don't know how long we got left in this session, so it looks a bit dry out there, I want to say, but rain's still falling, so maybe not. We've gained a second as we crossed the line. That puts us up to P6, purple last sector, and here we are now, Q3. Fortunately, the end of that did not save, so I couldn't put it on the video, but here we are then, at the end of our first Q3 lap, and it's P2, faster than Gasly, slower than Verstappen by a few tenths, and now Leclerc sets a faster lap than us, but that's to be expected, because it's a Ferrari and we're in a Haas. So, yeah, now going on to our last lap, a few seconds left to cross the line. We are P7, Russell P6, Hamilton P5, Carlos Sainz in P9, but we're gaining time as the track has got more and more grip from when we were last out at the start of the session. We've gained over 2 tenths, nearly 3. We lose quite a lot though going through those turns in the middle sector, using a lot of the curve on the entry, not as much on the exit. Just 1.5 tenths gained going into the final 2 corners, carrying as much possible speed. 1.5 tenths, going very wide. 2 tenths gained then, and where's that going to put us? This is in 7th place, so that's a very good place to be. Of course, we've got the sprint race and the race, so that is very good.
For tomorrow's
race and sprint race. For the sprint race, we start P7.
Those who'll be fronting the grid.
Sainz, and we're just going to have to see what's going to happen for the main race then. But Carlos Sainz tops Q3, and he'll be starting on pole position for the sprint race. Max Verstappen, of course, at the Red Bull ring, 2 Red Bulls, 2 and 3 Red Bull in Austria. So here we are, going to the sprint race.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Leclerc, George Russell and Hamilton. The engineer, Norris, Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly, Ocon, Vettel, Kevin Magnussen and Fernando Alonso. Sonoda, Joe, Alex Albon and Valtteri Bottas, Stroll and Nicholas Latifi. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Whatever you say, Mark. Right, it's going to be mediums the whole race for the sprint race then. We're putting enough fuel for the whole race, but now it's time for the formation lap. We're alongside Lewis Hamilton in P7, Hamilton in P6.
Okay,
ahead of him is George Russell, Norris behind us in P8, Ricciardo P9. We just need to warm the tyres up now, and possibly we could be on for a good finish. If you've watched anyone else on this in Austria on this game, then Austria is normally quite a chaotic race. So if we get everything right, then this could possibly be a very good race for us. We almost lose it there on the way to the grid doing burnouts, but we need to get as close as we can to the limit, and while we park up next to Lewis Hamilton then on the grid. 0.3 perfect parking. Now what's going to happen as we go to 5 red lights to the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull ring. all the 5 red lights are out, and we are underway. Hamilton gets a good start, and we don't initially get a good start. Norris coming down the inside of us, but what can we do on the outside? We're using a little bit of space, just touching Hamilton a little bit, and now going up towards turn 2 and 3. Of course, turn 2 the little kink in the straights, but now we're going down the inside possibly. We're on the inside of Leclerc. We don't brake too late, so we don't want to hit George Russell, of course, but Leclerc brakes also quite late. Norris trying to look around our outside. Leclerc trying to get a move on Lewis Hamilton done. We're now into the slipstream, but we're going to let them do whatever they want. Leclerc going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton has the inside line, but who's going to come out on top with Ferrari looking very quick? And Russell's been forced out, and Hamilton's gone through on the inside. So now Leclerc going down the inside of George Russell. Russell gone from P4, possibly down to P6, but Leclerc doesn't get the place. We have to brake mid-corner to stop us hitting Leclerc. Norris tries to attack us then on the exit of that corner. We had to brake for Leclerc. Here it is again then, this is the very start. Carlos Sainz on pole, who leads us away. He gets a very good start compared to Max Verstappen, who doesn't get a very good start. And he's immediately almost overtaken. He has been overtaken. Perez on the outside. And he's overtaken Max Verstappen then. Max Verstappen having a terrible start. George Russell getting an alright start, not really anything amazing. Charles Leclerc getting a good start, and there we are trying to make a move. We can't get anything. Our teammate in the background overtaking cars. You can see Norris trying to overtake us. Lap 6, nothing really happening. Leclerc has pulled away from us, yellow flag. Could it be anything interesting? We've got 9 tenths behind to Norris. And Lance strolls out, but nothing happens on it, so we're kind of in a race of our own, unless Norris can close a lot back up to us, and he has by lap 9. He's 3 tenths behind us. Charles Leclerc 2.7 seconds ahead. So yeah, we might be overtaken here by Lando Norris, depending on what happens then. But there's yellow flags ahead. What's happened ahead? It says green flags, but there's definitely yellows. You can see on the mini-map. We go a bit wide, and there it is, Carlos Sainz. And there's a bit of front wing. I saw a bit of front wing flying off the back there. Someone's hit someone, and maybe while Carlos Sainz retiring, he's hit someone. But that's Lando Norris going down the inside of us. I didn't see him in time, and we kind of cut him off. It was quite heavy contact, so we might have damage. But lap 10, George Russell looking to make a move on Charles Leclerc. He doesn't get it. Norris now 1.2 seconds behind us. End of lap 10 now. And Leclerc comes in very close contact with George Russell. Yellow flag still for Carlos Sainz, and Hamilton's in as well. Hamilton's in as well then, so Hamilton must have been hit. And here you can see, he does, as Carlos Sainz. And then, George Russell braking to avoid. I'm surprised he doesn't have front wing damage, because it looked like he hit Carlos Sainz quite hard still. But Charles Leclerc has front wing damage because he hit, and there's, he did give Lando Norris some front wing damage then. But lap 12, nothing else has happened. Max Verstappen is going to win this race, the sprint race here in Austria. Max Verstappen wins in Austria. Sergio Perez, second place. George Russell, third. We're going to come home for fourth place, 2 seconds behind him, behind George Russell. Ricciardo behind us, Gasly 5th.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Quick look at how the
this is going to set the race then. This is going to set the grid, sorry, for the race. Verstappen first on pole, Perez second, Russell third. We're going to start P4. Unless there's any grid penalties, but Hamilton down in P14, Charles Leclerc below that, so Carlos Sainz as well starting from the back. But before we start the race, we're going to see if we can get any upgrades on. We've got 1,800 resource points. We're looking at the chassis department. We're going to get some tyre wear on, and that's not going to be on for next episode, the one after for Hungary. And we're also going to put a weight redistribution also on. That's going to be on for Hungary as well. But now, as you can see, it's going to be very wet during this race. Going to be full wets by the looks of it, and maybe towards the end dry. and inters in between. This could be a race of many different strategies. So let's just go into this possibly crazy race.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's a short lap here in Spielberg with just 10 corners, 7 to the right and 3 to the left, making up the total distance of 2.6 miles. And expect to see a lot of cars running wide today, especially through the last corner, as the wet conditions make the cars skittish through the downhill sections. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have the engineer, Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly and Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, Joe, Vettel and Valtteri Bottas, Verstappen, Latifi and Sir Lewis Hamilton and Leclerc, Norris, Ocon, Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, Sainz and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Well, it's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Mark, I'll try not let you down, but you never know what happens. We're P3. It's going to be wet to wet. Well, it probably won't be because it looks like it's going to go dry in the end. We're taking all the fuel out them, 36 laps. And now, as you can see, very wet here on the grid in Austria. The heavens have opened. Of course, this could possibly be red flag in the next game, which is very interesting. If you haven't seen that, I've got 2 videos up about F1 23. They're all on my channel, of course. I've also got this playlist on my channel about F1 22 driver career mode. But now we need to focus on here, Austria, this race. It's very wet. We're starting P3, Perez on pole, so Verstappen's taken a penalty. We're P3, Russell P2, Ricciardo P4 and Gasly P5. This could be a crazy race, and it's all in the wet. So here Austria is known to be a crazy race, but in the rain as well. I haven't been practicing in full wets, not gonna lie. So the closest I've been to wet tyres is Inters, but now we're checking the weather and we're going towards the grid. Our grid slot is P3 for this race, warming the tyres up just before, doing burnouts on the grid just to get that little bit more temperature as we line up, as we slot into P3, 0.1 metre, but we are alongside George Russell. But now it's time for 5 red lights at a very wet Austria. All the red lights are out and we are underway. It's a good start from Russell, terrible start from Perez, who is on pole. But we're going to go down the inside possibly and go up into P1. We break late and we're up into P1, but George Russell gets a cutback. He's overtaken Sergio Perez and now he's taking us as well. George Russell up into P1, we're up in P2. Perez is down into P4. What a terrible start from the Red Bull. Ricardo up to P3, and now we're looking to make the move down the inside. We go on George Russell. We might keep this move. We forced him out, and now onto the power. We're up into P1 in a Haas. Yellow flags behind us. Everyone's going very slow behind. The engine is a bit warm, but who cares? We're up into P1, but it's only lap 1 of 36. But if we can say we've led a lap, then I'm happy, you know. Here it is again then. Very wet start. all the lights go out. Perez leads us away, and it's a terrible start, really. George Russell gets the immediate jump on him, but we just go to the inside, and we just send it. It was not a very good idea, and Perez tries to cut back, but we kind of just cut across him as we go wide, and George Russell takes the lead then. Carlos Sainz in P19, Max Verstappen in P11, Hamilton in P12. Where's Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc's in P15, Lando Norris P14. And there you go, there's the move for first place. Looks like Daniel Ricciardo is challenging for second place, but he doesn't get it. So now he's going to see if we can pull away from George Russell, but we haven't. And at the end of the lap, he's going down the inside. He's overtaken us again. So we didn't even last a lap in first place, probably about half a lap then. But I'm not complaining. I've led half a lap, you know, in a Haas. How many people can say that? Unless you haven't taken the whole race. But on to lap 2 then, and this is it again then. Just sends it down the inside. Lap 2, not much has happened. George Russell is pulling away from us though. And, well, you can see we've got terrible traction out of the last corner. But lap 2, not much is happening then. Here you go then. So 0.5 second, Perez is going for second place there, and it almost is 3 wide as the Alpine of Fernando Alonso gets involved. But here we are then, we've got a 1.2 second gap ahead and 0.9 gap behind.
There appears to be an issue. We're currently investigating.
Nah. We're P2 on lap 2 on a race, and you're going to tell me that I might retire. But behind us then, if we might retire from this race, but lap 2, Verstappen is overtaking Norris then. Nicholas Latifi overtaking or being attacked by Carlos Sainz. And Verstappen then coming back at Lando Norris and going around the outside, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. But they're going side by side now through turn 4. Who gets the better traction? It's Lando Norris. Verstappen trying to get back through, but it doesn't work. Lap 3, we've got that engine problem in mind. Ricciardo is 0.8 seconds behind. 2.5 seconds up the road, and that's it. The engine's gone. Lap 3. Surely that's the shortest leg. That's the quickest someone's got a retirement. Surely, man. Surely that has to be the quickest retirement for a player. Like, that's annoying. We were in contention for a podium. Our first podium would pass, and it's gone up in. Well, it's not even in smokes, is it? Because it's a gearbox failure. But you know. That is terrible. Our race has ended on lap 3 due to a gearbox problem. That was a new gearbox as well. That was a new gearbox. Everyone flies past us. We have to pull up at the side of the track and retire the car.
Smiling faces on the pit wall then after that superb win here in Spielberg, and rightly so. A brilliant effort from the whole team. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sports that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. So let's review the driver's
Even though our race did
Max
end on
Verstappen
lap
should be
3,
pleased with his performance,
Verstappen has won the
making
race.
gains at the top
Russell
of the
P2
table.
from
So,
leading it,
Anthony
so he went
Davidson,
from first to
who would you
second,
rank
Perez
as your
in third.
driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed
That's
to just
not even the race
effortlessly weave
results.
through the
Here's
other
the race
drivers today
results.
without a care
Verstappen
in the
first,
world.
Russell
He was
second,
definitely my
Leclerc
driver
came back
of
to
choice.
third
Let's
from
move on to
14th.
the constructors.
Perez
And
down
pulling
to
further
4th
ahead in
from
the
first.
standings, it's Red
Hamilton
Bull.
from
Well,
13th
that
up to
was certainly
5th.
an
Of course, this is all
exciting
simulated,
weekend
so
of Formula
probably
One. Be
not
sure to
really
join
going to
us for
happen.
more exciting Formula One
So
action very
this wouldn't have
soon.
really happened in real life if it was like this. because it's simulated. So it's a perfectly good race kind of ruined then with our mechanical failure. If it was later on in the race, maybe it would have been a better, like, more realistic of what would have happened. 'Cause I don't see Carlos Sainz coming from 19th up to 5th in one race in changing conditions.
Window has opened.
But if you have enjoyed this race,
For a better deal
please like, share and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.